Well, I haven't posted a lot in the last few days. Between not feeling too hot and just being busy as all hell, I haven't really had a chance to do much other than do some shopping. So I found this 90 on Facebook Market for a reasonable price. Hard top, 2 sets of doors. I have the full doors over there. It has a bikini top, and it's supposed to have a full soft top as well. It comes with an extra set of wheels I gotta still pick up. It comes with 5 of these stock Jeep wheels. It is the 6-cylinder, and I don't know what kind of carburetor system 90s had, Remax or whatever the hell they were called. Back seat is got to be picked up. It does have the bow and everything for the stock soft top. So it comes with these cool shifters, I guess. Maybe I'll transfer them into my Jeep. So yeah, the motor was rebuilt at some point a couple years ago. It hasn't run since 2022. There's the doors. I'm going to need mirrors. This one is missing the glass, and this one's missing all of the mirror. Just has a piece of broken plastic. Just going to need some door panels. But other than that, not too bad. So everybody's been wanting about $1,500 for a hard top, and between $800 and $1,200 for the doors. And so I figured between $2,500 and $2,700 is about what I was going to spend on a hard top and doors, and $3,000. So I figure it's non-op, so no back fees, so I have a clean title for it. So I'm gonna see if I can get it running. If I can't get it running, well, then I'll strip it down. But it's got a fairly new lift on it. Let's see, I need to get the number off of this anyway so I can look up. 8010. Now he said it's a 6-inch. I know it's not. This looks like a 2. It does have fairly new shocks. It does have longer drop lengths, and I could have swore I saw, yeah, it's got the track bar relocation kit on it as well. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So I'll probably this afternoon come back out here and put a key in it. And now he had the battery on a charger, but I don't know if it was actually taking a charger, if he was messing around. Let's see, actually, do I still have the key in my pocket? No, I don't. Yeah. All right, well, what we're gonna do is clean it up, see what's what. It's got a pretty nice little carpet kit. I wouldn't have a carpet kit in a Jeep, but somebody would. So that probably will go. Regardless, they cut these door panels, so they'll stay with the Jeep because mine are not cut. But yeah, no, I've got a parts vehicle. It'll either be just the parts I need, and we'll sell the rest, or we'll get it running, put a soft top, one of the 2 soft tops, either my soft top or the one that came with the Jeep, on it, and turn around and resell it as a running Jeep. I mean, it looks like it's fairly decent, so get $3,000 or $4,000 out of it and call it a day. All right, so what we have here now, I was told he put a lot of new parts underneath this. It supposedly has a new brake booster. This doesn't look all that new to me, but it might be. A lot of rust, a lot of corrosion. So we definitely had a bit of an oil leak. He said it has a new exhaust manifold. New within the last couple of years, I'm assuming. Looks like all the smog shit is there. So what I'm gonna do He had this battery on a charger when I showed up, so I'm gonna put the key in it and see if it turns over and see what happens. And then if it doesn't do anything, I might find, I got a can of starting fluid. I'll spray it down there and see if we can get it to at least pop. Okay, I put the key in and it turns over, and it did fire just a little bit. So the story is that last time he drove it or started it, it started revving high. He shut it off, it backfired, and it hasn't started since. So what does that leave us? A couple of things I can come to mind. A vacuum leak of some kind would cause the high revving. Excess fuel could cause some high revving. Bad fuel pump would cause it not to start. It does have a EGR valve, so let's go ahead and set this up out of the way for a second. And like I said, it did fire a little bit, so I don't know how much fuel is in here. And this is screwed on, so it could have a bad filter. It could be a number of things. Apparently they had the vacuum line off at one point. There's a piece of tape with a number on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and find my starting fluid and just see if we can get this thing to fire. If we can get this to fire, then we'll figure out what the issue is. Alright, so I sprayed a little bit of my carburetor and choke cleaner. I think my starting fluid is in the house someplace, but I spray it down there and it fires right up, and then of course it stalls right down. So questions become, what could be causing it not to want to run? And so I'm thinking it's a fuel related issue. So I'm looking here, just trying to see. It's got an aftermarket coil on it. The motor's been painted green. I don't know if you can see it through all the dirt and crud, but he said the motor was rebuilt by his friend who owned this Jeep prior to him. So he didn't say how many miles are on it, but the spark plugs look clean. So maybe I'll disconnect the fuel line and see. Actually, let's take a look at the fuel gauge and see if it's even working. Maybe I'll make a trip to the gas station and put some gas in it. Is there a gas gauge? Yes, there is a gas gauge. So gas gauge says it's full. I wonder if it is. So what could it be? All right, I'm guessing that it's fuel related. And my guess is it's either a bad fuel pump, and I'm trying to decide if this has a manual fuel pump or an electric one. I might have to look that up because I'm not 100% sure. But if I can get this thing to run, then it's a pretty decent Jeep, other than pretty much there's a little crinkle on this one fender right here. But it's a Jeep, so it's all good. And it possibly might need a radiator. I see a lot of rust and stuff up here, but a little degreaser might go a long way. I'll My pressure washer is not working, but I could always borrow my neighbor's. Oh look, the heater core is disconnected. Alright, so we know that it fires, but it's not starting. So let's see if we're getting fuel. I need to get some tools so I can get that fuel line loosened up and see if we have any fuel coming up at all. And then I need to figure out if this is a mechanical or electric pump. I'm not sure on the 90. I think it's electric, but I'm not 100% sure. So, but I did get a full set of manuals with this thing too, so I'll have to kind of browse through those later. So let me go find my wrenches and see if we can get that off. Okay, well, following the fuel line, there's the fuel filter. Follow that line right there, right down here to the mechanical fuel pump, which is on the side of the motor, right behind the alternator, so we know that it's mechanical. So what I'm going to do is disconnect. I want to disconnect up here at the filter so I can see if there's any fluid in the filter. If I'm not getting fluid there, I will see what happens. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and find a screwdriver and disconnect this right here. Now this has two lines. One is supposed to be a drain back line, and one goes to the carburetor. Sort of. Yeah, right there. So I'm going to disconnect it up here. So let me go find a screwdriver. Okay, so I hooked up my little filter, or my little funnel, put some gas in it. First thing I notice is this one line here on the fuel filter that is supposed to be the return line has a big gaping hole and is dumping the fuel everywhere. The other thing I've noticed is that we're not getting any fuel. Oops, move that out of the way. We're not getting any fuel from the fuel pump to the filter. As soon as I spray some carburetor cleaner in there, it fires right up. Now I did hear a bunch of fuel go into the carburetor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line off and go see if I have a piece of line that is long enough in the right size. It says it's 1/4 inch, it looks like. So I'm going to go hunt down a piece of fuel line and see how I can replace that. And then I'm going to see if I have a way to prime this fuel pump. It may just be a bad pump. I mean, this pump doesn't look old, but that doesn't really mean anything. If it's sat, it could just be dried out. So maybe it's not pumping any fuel, because it's definitely firing. All right, let's hunt down a piece of fuel line, and then let's one problem at a time. All right, so I got the fuel filter off. It looks fairly new and it flows really well, so I'm not going to worry about that being the issue. But this is the return line. Got a big hole in the side of it, and it's been off a dozen times and it's smashed and brittle. So I've got some new fuel line. I'm going to put that on there. We'll reconnect that, and then we'll move down to the actual fuel pump, and we'll disconnect it and see if we're getting any fuel to the pump. And then if we're getting fuel to the pump, I'll try to prime the pump by pouring some gas down the pump line and see if that helps pick it up. If it doesn't, fuel pump isn't very expensive. We'll slap one on here. Wish I had an electric one. I used to have a whole bunch of them that when we did the bugs, have those little electric pumps, and you could just plug them in, check it, and be done. But we will see. So, yeah, this line was definitely a problem. So if this was sucking air, it wasn't allowing the pressure to stay constant, could have burned out the pump, who knows, or this went bad over time. I don't know. But this is definitely should have been replaced the last time they put a filter in here. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. And I've got some 50 psi fuel line, so that should be more than adequate for a return line. All right, so I replaced that short one. I put that clamp back in, and I got to looking at this frickin' thing, and it's brittle too. So I am going to go ahead and remove this other clamp and go ahead and remove that line and put a new piece in there as well. Since I've got this hose out, I might as well make sure I check everything, because last thing is you don't want to fire. And then I'm gonna have to go to the store and buy some gas, because apparently I don't have any. Okay, so they had that hose, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but almost 2.5 inches up the line instead of just down where it needs to be. So we're gonna cut ourselves another short piece and get it in there. Alright, so what I did was I put my air line here into the tank, and I covered the hole with my hand, and I put some air into the gas tank, and I had taken off the fuel line going to the pump from the tank, and as you can see, I don't know if you can really see that down there on the ground, but fuel did come up the line and out of the thing, so it was dry. So now we have fuel in there, so I'm going to see if we can spray some more of this carburetor cleaner down there, see if we can get this to bring fuel all the way up, now that we have repaired all the vacuum, all the fuel lines that were hanging out up here. Okay, so what we're getting is spray the carburetor cleaner in, it runs for a few seconds, but I am not hearing any squirting. So either we have a bad diaphragm in the carburetor, or we have a bad fuel pump. And I'm kind of leaning towards bad fuel pump. So yeah, I'm trying to see. I wonder if one of my parts stores here in town has this fuel pump. I don't have a spare one of these floating around, so fuel pumps are cheap. It'd be worth spending the money, because I mean, this thing does sound pretty good. Here, I'll show you what we're getting. A little bit of that. I'll put you there. So it does want to fire, just doesn't want to stay running. Okay, so we're gonna take that fuel line back off. We're gonna disconnect this one, and then we're going to put in our brand new fuel pump from AutoZone, and it was this part number, and it was the only one in stock within 100 miles. So called all the different parts stores, and that was it. So we're going to hope that this is it. Then we're going to fire it up, and it's going to run great, and that'll be the end of that. And then we'll sell what parts I don't take off as a running Jeep, because there's no reason to part it out if it runs. Okay, so I need to find my screwdriver, I need to find the line wrench, and then I need to figure out where the hell those two bolts are on the side of the block here. 9/16 maybe? Alright, let me hunt down some tools. Alright, so the two bolts were a size 13. One is a little bit longer than the other. I don't know why. The dog is going nuts. This pump doesn't appear to be that old, but I can't get it to seem to apply any suction when I operate the lever. So maybe it's bad, maybe it's not. Maybe they put it in wrong. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is clean up the mounting surface, and either they gave me a new gasket in the box I didn't check, and normally they do, but you know, people are getting cheap these days. Yep, there's a gasket in there, so we'll go ahead and pop that on there, and we'll see if we can get this thing to work. Alright, so first thing I noticed between the two pumps is there is a lot of play at this one. I can move that quite a bit and it doesn't seem to be engaging anything. This one, it doesn't move but a little bit. So I'm kind of thinking that might be part of the issue. The only other difference here, this port's backwards compared to this one. Shouldn't be a problem because it is just going to be pointing towards, I just have to turn this hose around so that it's facing this way, but not that big a deal. All right, so and they gave me two gaskets, not just one, so that's kind of nice. Guess they figured you're going to screw it up once. All right, let me get the gasket out and see if we can get that back on there. Okay, so I used the long bolt on the side closest to the motor mount, got it started, and the pump is kind of cockeyed at an angle. Made sure the gasket was on, and then basically using a lot of force push the pump so you can feel that spring compress, and you want to get it standing straight up and down, and then you can get the other one to start. Basically I almost tightened the back wind all the way in, and then backed it off just a little bit so the pump would move a little bit, and I was able to get that started. It wasn't too bad. Even with one good hand, one bad hand, I was able to do it. Mostly I just used my fingertips and pushed it over. So the next thing will be to hook up the two lines and see if we can get some fuel to come up. Alright, so before I hook up the upper line, I'm going to go ahead and crank this over a few times and see if we get any fuel to come up. Okay, it's already started to dry, but yeah, I did have fuel already squared up, so now I just have to put this line in and we are good to go. Of course, it's a pain in the ass to do, so I am going to... It should spin, but it's not spinning like it's supposed to. It's on there pretty tight. So I gotta find a 1/2 inch so I can get it started. Okay, so I got that all tightened up. So the fuel pump's back in, line's hooked up, and everything is where it's supposed to be, except for the air cleaner. We're gonna spray some more carburetor cleaner down the side there. That just helps it get a little bit of fuel started. This battery, I don't know how strong it is. I threw it on the charger while I was chasing after that fuel pump. Let's hope this was it. Okay, well, that's all it took. New fuel pump and now she runs. Looking for leaks. So far, so good. All right, and she just kicked down, so it sounds a lot better when she's not running at high idle. Alright, so it looks like either the alternator's not working or the gauge doesn't work. The oil pressure seems to be working. The clock is ticking, but I don't know if it's accurate. Fuel gauge looks to be working. It seems to go up and down. And the temperature seems to work. The tach is working, so I don't know if the speedo is working. See if the fan motor works. Let's see, we want, yeah, the fan motor seems to work. Not great, but it works. I'm not doing another one, but I will pull all this extra wiring for the stereo crap that was in here out, because let somebody else put in their own wiring. I don't know. He said he put a carpet kit in here, but this sort of looks hacked up here in the middle, so not really sure what this piece of rubber is. Maybe we'll just go back to the floor and call it good. But seems okay. Kind of want to drive it, but I'm gonna put some carburetor cleaner through the gas tank tomorrow. I'm gonna see what else we can do to get it, but I come out here every now and then, start it up, let it idle, get up to temperature. Kind of want everything to lubricate. I do know that the front main seal seems to be leaking on the harmonic balancer. Not a lot, but enough. Yeah, and it looks like the shocks they put on were Rough Country. That's what these stickers say anyway. Yep, I need to go through these boxes back here and see what's what. Alright, so there's a box with some new hood latches in there, black ones. There is a windshield wiper motor. He said he wasn't sure if this one's bad. There's a rear seat cover. I guess it matches the front seat covers. I guess that's the rails for the soft top. I thought he said the carpet kit that was in the Jeep was new. I believe this is the new carpet kit, brand new. So who knows what I'm going to do with that. Definitely not for me. But yeah, so that's that. Yeah, it seems to be running pretty good. They welded this hitch receiver right to the frame, so I guess it ain't going nowhere. At least I could pull my trailer out with this. Alright. Kind of a rust hole here. I'm not sure if that was a missing bolt. Some stickers. Yeah, looks alright. And you have to put the top down at the same time you're doing this, I guess. Kind of. Alright. Well, that is the Jeep I'm going to use for the hardtop for my Jeep, and the doors for my Jeep, not these doors, the hard doors. And yeah, the more I start it and run it, the better it sounds. I'd say all in all, for a not running Jeep when I brought it home, spending $30 on a fuel pump was well worth it. So yep, it looks like this one, yeah, so you can see where we've got a bit of a leak there. We'll have to check into that. Alright, well, thanks for watching. I guess tomorrow I will hopefully start working on the other Jeep again, and we'll get some of the stuff done that we need to. I need to get over and get the windshield put in, and get all that sorted out so that we can get that all rocking and rolling. Well, thanks for watching.